Start list. You can see 3 Americans in this race, and Dayron Robles of Cuba is the one guy who can certainly spoil the Americans' day at any invitational race. Just a little updated information. Liu Shong of China, who was in New York last night, withdrew from the competition with a little bit of tightness in his hamstring. He addressed the crowd and let them know how disappointed he was as we look at Ryan Wilson of the U.S., who will start in lane 3 in this 110-meter hurdles.
And Dwight, you mentioned Robles. Robles was ranked #2 in the world to Liu Chang. And just a terrific phenom out of Cuba, and a young man at that, at 21 years of age.
Eric Bautenweg of Germany in lane 1. Andy Turner there of Great Britain will start in lane 2. And then it's Ryan Wilson of the U.S., formerly USC.
By the way, quickly, where it says SB, that's the season best for Ryan Wilson, as you see those things, just to let you know. You may have figured that out already, but in case you hadn't, of course, the PB is the personal best on the right-hand side of the graphic.
He ran that 13:02 last year. There is the Cuban, the youngster, Dayron Robles, just 21 years old, Pan-American champion and world indoor silver medalist. Sergei Demiduk of Ukraine,
a 2007 World Championship finalist. Ukraine's got some good athletes.
And then David Oliver, the American record holder, he ran, excuse me, he's not the American record holder, but 12:95, one of the Americans under 13 seconds.
And he does have the fastest time this year in the world has David Oliver. Joel Brown, one of America's consistently best guys.
Dominic Arnold, of course, is the American record holder. Thomas Blaszek of Germany in lane 8. And then rounding out the field in lane 9, Gregory Sedak of the Netherlands. European indoor champion last year. Americans always flush with hurdlers. Terence Trammell winning last night in New York. 13:11 in less than great conditions. As we look at Dayron Robles once again.
Robles, while we were on him, had a terrible World Indoor Championships. And he actually sat in the blocks thinking they were going to call back what he ascertained as a false start. He never got out of the blocks at the World Championships. And it was not called back, and he actually got out and he stopped. You know, just terrible. And obviously a huge lesson. He fell to the track and he just buried his head in his hands and just stayed there for about a minute.
Well, those are tough lessons to learn. Ask Greg Foster. He did much the same thing at the Olympics in L.A. He thought it was a false start, got out of the blocks very badly, just losing to Roger King. And Roger, of course, becoming one of the greatest hurdlers in history. One of only 2 athletes to ever win the 110-meter hurdles gold medal back-to-back.
They raised the hand up there. They'll let everybody stand up there if somebody didn't like something with the blocks or something. But while we have a second, of all of the athletes in this race, the person who has improved the most this year is David Oliver in the race. He'll be in lane 6. Keep an eye on him. He's got shoulders like coat hangers.
He's the Phil Jackson of the hurdle.
Yes, I was absolutely going to say that was my next mouthful. We're definitely in sync today. That's absolutely what I was thinking. But Oliver's had the biggest improvements. Ranked 9th in the world last year. Robles, consistently tough, could be his best competition. We'll have to wait and see. But Robles, very solid throughout his whole race. No weaknesses at all.
And a great tradition for Cuba for hurdles over the years. Always have somebody good in the hurdles. And he's a rail, this guy. Ran 12:92 last year. Oliver has already run 12:95 this year. Ryan Wilson trying to get back to that 13:02 that he ran in 2007. Tough team to make for the U.S., the 110-meter hurdles.
Yeah. Terrible.
I'm talking about the 36-year-old Alan Johnson still being in the mix. Ready for the start.
And goes up again. I wonder what this is all about. He's pointing to us.
This is Joel Brown, and this is the second time he's saying he's having trouble hearing the commands. Rashawn Jackson basically saying the same thing in the 400-meter hurdles earlier.
I wonder what that's about, Dwight. It's funny where one guy, you know, he's off to the side compared to the starter, but the other guys are not complaining. And, anyway, while we have a second, just more on Oliver, which he's really surprised everybody with the amount of improvement. Last year he was 13.14 seconds. He's down to 12.95. That's almost 0.2 of a second. Huge improvement for the guy. And he said later afterwards, he raced that in Doha, over in Qatar at that meet, and he said, you know, if I had just gotten out a little more quickly out of the blocks, he said the world record would have fallen.
Well, you never know when those opportunities are going to come. You run that relaxed race, you have no expectations, or you have lower expectations, and you run technically near perfect race and have a time that is far superior to your previous. Then you have to live up to it after that.
Once again, watch lane 4. That is Robles particularly. Oliver is in 6. Ryan Wilson, ranked 8th in the world, is in lane 3 on the right of your screen. Wilson in the white top. And to his left on the screen, that is Robles.
Away cleaning with a quick gun. And out in lane 9, it's Sadat out very well. And then Robles in lane 4. It is Dayron Robles. And now here comes David Oliver. It's Robles of Cuba in 4, Oliver of the U.S. in 6. And it's at the line. Looked like Oliver in lane 6. Very, very close between him and the Cuban for that victory. I'm going to say it's Oliver.
Yeah, I really did think it was Oliver, probably by, I don't know, less than 1/10 of a second. Let's take a look at the screen. Now watch Oliver kind of gain on Robles a little bit here. It is Oliver edging ahead right here. Watch him. And he's got just a little bit on him, I think, you know, by 6 or 8 1/100ths of a second. We'll see. The wind was a 0.5 into your face, which translates to less than 1 mile an hour. It's about 1 mile an hour, so virtually negligible. Time not that good here, 13.27 seconds. I thought it would be quicker for Oliver.
Well, he's reacting to the time. He's not liking it. 13.19 is what's
efficient.
now being flashed up. But not happy with his performance, but he'll take the win. As you can see how close it really was. 1/100th of a second separating the American over the Cuban. And we'll be back with much more Golden League here on ESPN. Don't go away.